It's time for our annual check-in with Mark Sisson, our personal health and wellness guru, and a leader in the space of the ancestral health movement, and inadvertent hero of the anti-aging longevity space. Everyone wants to be like Mark when they grow up. Let's check in with Mark and see how his 2022 went and what's in store for him and for the world of health and wellness in general for 2023. Hi, I'm Erin Power.
And I'm Laura Rupsis.
We're certified health coaches, and this is Health Coach Radio.
This podcast is about the art, science, and business of health coaching.
We share our insider tips to help you become a better coach and entrepreneur.
And we interview expert guests to discover how they've made it in this growing field.
It's time for health coaches to make an impact.
It's time for Health Coach Radio. All right, it's 2023. We've got our man back, Mark Sisson. How are you?
I am great. I'm fresh in from the gym myself. Was actually coaching somebody. We'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
Do tell. Who are you coaching and how are you coaching them?
So I live in this condo. It's got 500 units in it and a massive gym inside. And so I'm in the gym a couple times a week and people know what I do. And today I was on my new favorite piece of equipment. It's this rope pull machine. Imagine, if you've seen the Versa pulley that Versa Climber made, sort of the cross-country ski machine, combined with a Jacob's ladder, combined with a Versa Climber, combined with a concept of a treadmill, this rope pull machine, and this one's by a company called Marpro, but it simulates pulling rope, and you can change the resistance on it from almost like climbing yourself up to very little resistance. And so I have different workouts that I do on this. So today I'm in the gym doing my sprint workout because, if you follow the Primal Blueprint and laws, one of them is sprint once in a while. Well, I'm not sprinting on the beach the last month or so because I got injured a little bit playing Frisbee, but no problem. I just shift my sprinting over to this rope pull machine. So I do these intervals. I do these 1 minute all out pulls with about a 2.5 minute rest in between. And so one of my friends had seen me doing it. So he's like, what is that? And what does that do? So of course I had to enlighten him on all of the benefits of this particular piece of equipment. And then a strategy on how to set different protocols and ultimately the technique, because there is a technique in doing it where you get the maximum amount of work. So anyway, here I am still coaching.
Cool. So specific question about that. If we sprint using our arms, does it still count?
Well, so the reason you want to sprint, there's several reasons, but one of them is to get a maximum heart rate, right? A maximum cardiovascular event that lasts 30 to 40 seconds. Because the work you do in the rest of the body, you could do 15 deadlifts or hex bar deadlifts or heavy squats, and you'd get out of breath, right? And you'd sort of get some cardio benefit from that, but that's mostly working those leg muscles. Mm-hmm. In this case, first of all, you get a hell of a pump in the arms. I don't know if you can see, but not that you need to. But it sort of goes away when I come home. But I'm telling you, I'm a veteran of 30 plus years of endurance activities, much of which the time was spent at a max heart rate. I've never gotten my heart rate as high for as short a period of time as I can get on this rope pull machine. So it is like sprinting. I mean, if you're going to do sprints on the beach, which I do sometimes, or sprints, on the grass or bike or, assault bike efforts, all those things they raise whatever the work requirement is of the body. It forces the heart to have to beat forcefully and harder and longer and faster to keep up to clear the lactate. So however you can replicate that life or death sprint that our ancestors had to engage in once in a while, however you can replicate that, anything goes, anything works. And this particular machine, the rope pull, has this benefit of actually raising the heart rate. Now, I'm not just pulling with my hands. I'm literally like jumping up and down fast to try and get as high up as I can on the rope and pull it through as low as I can. So it's working the full body. It's literally working, all of, the lats certainly to pull through, the biceps, the triceps. I have to kind of change the grip a little bit because 40 seconds in, you start to get, grip fatigue. Because I'm jumping up and down, it has a little bit of a jump rope like motion to it. So it's really engaging a lot of muscles.
I love that machine for the grip training specifically. That's one thing that I'm kind of putting on my sites.
Yeah. Now for the grip training, I would go the opposite direction. I would put it on a higher resistance and pull through slower and more steadily and grip it, because now you're having to pull a lot of weight through it. But you can use this machine without having to be that one guy or gal out of 100 in your class, in gym class, who could actually climb the rope, right?
You know what I love this for too is, and just speaking in terms of someone who lives in the gym too and coaches other people that way, is that whole upper body pull, particularly for women and trying to get their first stinking pull up, and you're either, the progressions are really hard to do to really kind of finally get there. Because if you can't do one, just doing more reps to get stronger doesn't work, which means you're adding assistance of some kind, like bands or what have you. But, I would have them do pull-up negatives or pull-up holds. But this is something that I think, first of all, one of the things that for me ends up going before upper body strength is my grip on pull-ups. I use my grip first. So,
that's my issue on hex bar deadlifts is my grip. So, grip strength. And as you know, not you guys, but me, as you get older, the grip strength test is a massive, major test of longevity, right? So it's indicative of a whole lot of other stuff going on in the body.
I'm fascinated by that because you keep hearing that soundbite that loss of grip strength is sort of like the first harbinger of, of sarcopenia and age-related sort of loss of muscle and balance and proprioception. And it's like, well, why? And I feel like it's because kind of everything starts with your hands. And when you lose the ability to pick up and hold things, and then you can't carry things, then you can't move things. And then so like the chain kind of starts at the hands for losing your function.
Absolutely. And it may be that the loss of grip strength, it may not start at the hands, it may end at the hands too. Mm-hmm. So it's a chicken or egg kind of thing, because if you choose to do less work, if you atrophy, if you just hang around and do nothing, then the major muscles of the body atrophy. Then, as we've had this discussion before, when your muscles atrophy, then your bones go, hey, we don't need to be stronger. We're not being forced to be the connector between this limb and this limb anymore. So we'll just lose some of our bone density. The heart doesn't have to pump harder or forcefully because you're not calling upon it to do any hard or heavy work. Liver doesn't have to work as hard to clear toxins or to provide any sort of energy substrates, and so on and so forth. So maybe the loss of grip strength is also a marker for just the rest of the atrophy, because as the atrophy sort of works its way toward the end of the limbs, right. Who knows? But at any rate, it's a pretty, even though it's not a direct, there's not a direct connection, it's a good marker for what's going on in the body if you can't, squeeze that grip trigger thing.
I have been obsessed with grip training the last year, because I live on this little farm and I have to do a lot of farm chores, many of which are manual labor. And I found that I wasn't able to hold and grip things as well as I could before. So I've been doing the rope machine. Now mine is a seated one at my gym. So I'm sitting down pulling this rope, which is kind of goofy.
Usually the seat comes off. Like you can lift the seat on many of those. It's just there, and you can take the seat off. Literally, it's a 2-second thing. It's just resting. It's nested on a thing.
I love it.
But a lot of these gyms have these machines that are never used. So if no one ever goes over there and takes the seat off, you don't even know that the seat can come off. I'm pretty sure the seat will come off on that. If it doesn't, and I've had rope machines like this, you just straddle it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the straddle gives you a little bit of a different sort of sumo type leg workout.
Right. So I have this whole grip day that I do where I kind of start with that machine. I do deadlifts on that day. I'll do farmer carries on that day. I will do dead hangs on that day. It's just like grip.
That's a lot of grip work for one day.
It is. I know, but I'm not in the gym.
I hope you don't come home and dice carrots.
Right.
That would be an occupational hazard.
It is. It's so intense, but But the thing with pull-ups, where I'm feeling triggered, and even rope climb, because you said there's that one kid out of 100 in your class who can do it. I certainly wasn't, because I grew very tall at a very young age. And so this is the concept of strength to weight ratio, which is also a concept you talk about in the Primal Blueprint and in our course, which I feel very personally triggered by. It's like, I'm super strong. I feel like I could possibly outlift most people and surprise them, but I can't lift my own body up. And I feel so much shame. I feel shame about it, but also it's like, it's this puzzle I've never been able to solve. And so I think grip strength is actually the first stop on that.
It could well be. Now, can you do pull-ups?
No. When I was in the military, I got up to 3 because you had to. And that was it. That was the height of my pull-up. No, it was, oh my God, that's 25 years ago.
you know my wife, Carrie.
Yeah.
She just turned 67.
Mm-hmm.
She did 6 pull-ups the other day.
I love that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't get my first pull-up until I was in my 40s, but I had to work for it.
Yeah, well, of course, it's a learned experience. You can't just, if you haven't done pull-ups before, like anything else, there's a technique. And once you get, and that's the beauty of pull-ups. Once you get the first one, then you can go for 2. But until you get the first one, you're kind of stalled.
That's a good point. Okay, I'm going to try one today. I bet you I can do one.
Yeah.
I bet you I can do it. You know, I'm in my head.
I know you can do it. Now, are you doing a reverse, or are you doing a
I want to do them proper. I want to do proper pull-up.
Yeah. It's a pull-up.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to try it. You've inspired me. So tell us about your year. What are some of the highlights?
So, well, the highlights are I've been traveling a lot this year. I was on the road for 5 months.
Wow.
It was a long summer of a lot of travel, and it was amazing. And I think one of the things like I learned from this, people said, well, what was the highlight? And the highlight literally for me was every day. Now that sounds mundane, but when I go back and I think, what was the best part of the trip? It was waking up every day and experiencing that day as maybe unique. Even though a lot of the days I love my routine, I get into a routine. That's one of the things we like about going to France, for instance. We know the people where we go, we know the people there, we know the restaurants. We have a routine, but having a routine makes it possible for me to stay in one place for long periods of time. You know, if I go somewhere else in the world and I'm there for a week or 10 days, if I don't have a routine, I can't wait to get home to my routine, right? So it was the recognition that there was no one day that exceeded any other day in fulfillment, in enjoyment, in satisfaction, in contentment, in hedonistic pleasures or anything like that.
Yeah. So these are some things that come to mind for me in terms of health coaches listening. I mean, so how old are you now?
I'm 69.
Okay. So
in my 70th year. Next year, when I turn 70, I'll be in my 8th decade. So shut up.
Well, what I want to drive home is what you are experiencing now and what you're living through now, I think is what so many people think they're working for.
Right.
We spend all this time, decades and decades and decades as working individuals to this holy grail of retirement to be able to go do what we want to do. And the vast majority, I speak for Americans, but I think this is a global issue. The vast majority of us, by the time we get to that age, we don't have the energy, we don't have the time, we don't have the money to live that life. And this is what health coaching for me is all about, is to be capable enough and strong enough and fit enough and successful enough to be able to do that and not feel as though I'm just too old at that point to enjoy the process. So when you said it was literally every day, it was an amazing day. I just speak so much volumes into all the work and all the effort that you've put into your health leading up to now.
Yeah. And I'm like the people you talk about. I spent much of my life sort of thinking, tomorrow's going to be the time when I really get to enjoy because I'm working too hard today. Or when the weekend comes, it'll be so nice because I'm not enjoying today. I'm not enjoying the fact that it's Wednesday. Or when I retire, I'll be able to finally do all the things that I talked about doing. Well, I learned in my 40s when I had kids that there was a balance that you have to, if you want to enjoy your life, and the Primal Blueprint is really about enjoying life. The Primal Blueprint is not so much about dialing in just the fitness or just the diet. It's at the very root of the Primal Blueprint pyramid is enjoy your life, extract the greatest amount of fulfillment, contentment, pleasure, whatever you want to call it, out of every possible moment that you can recognize. Because I know so many people who work on their health, and they're, oh my God, I'm doing, I'm working out with a trainer, and I got stretchers, and I got my diet dialed in, and I've been a very good person. I didn't eat, any birthday cake at my son's birthday, and I'm like, okay, but you're freaking miserable because you're not enjoying life right now. And the idea that you should find a balance, that was the one of the big epiphanies I had when I was in my 40s. When my kids were born, starting at 37, but then when my son was born, I was 40. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to Little League practices. I'm going to coach Little League. I'm going to ref soccer. I'm going to go to the games. I'm going to go to the PTA. I'm going to be involved in my kid's life. I'm going to teach him how to boogie board. I'm going to do all these things because at the end of the day, that's the only reason I'm working is for the security and benefit of my family. I'm not working for the sake of working. I'm working obviously to get the passion and to generate some amount of contribution to the world. But the reason I'm collecting a paycheck and want to, bring home the bread is so my kids will be happy. Well, if I'm bringing home the bread and my kids aren't happy and my wife's not happy, then I missed the point, right? So I learned fairly early that there's a balance that I needed to find where I could say, I have these amazing, grandiose dreams and I have these big goals and I'm all in on these goals. But I have to first of all, release the attachment to the achievement of those goals. I have the goals, I'm going to work toward them, but if they don't happen, then I move on. I can't sacrifice. And so part two is I can't sacrifice today in pursuit of a goal that may or may not happen. That doesn't mean the goal is any less valuable, but I gotta enjoy today. I gotta live today. I gotta have dinner with my kids. Or I gotta make them breakfast when they wake up. I gotta spend time with my wife. I gotta do the date nights. I gotta all those things. And I see captains of industry that claim to work 80, 90, 120 hours a week. I'm like, shit, you don't need to do that. Like you can spend time with your family. There's something else going on there.
Yeah.
Right. So now we cut to, I sell Primal Kitchen 4 years ago now. I can't believe that. And I'm like, I'm going to retire. And my wife Gary's all like, okay, now we get to retire. Now you get to go, take it easy and not work. But we tried it for 2 years. It didn't work. Like I'm just going to get in trouble. I mean, so I started a new company. And that was the other thought I was going to have because I have the balance. I still, the new company I founded with my son, Kyle. So I'm spending time with my son. He mostly runs the company. I'm the founder and face of the brand, but I've got that balance. I'm working to the extent that I want to work. I'm playing to the extent that I want to play. Sometimes work and play, commingle. We used to, back in the old days of EST and Summit and LifeSpring and all these other workshops, we used to talk about productive leisure, right? You go on a vacation, but you get a lot of stuff done. So I feel like I'm rambling, number one, but I'm going to keep going with this thought that I've never been in a better place in terms of how old I am now to find that balance. I'm as fit as I could possibly be for my age, or for anybody, a lot of people younger than me. I eat whatever I want to eat, but within guardrails. So I'm metabolically flexible, and that's one of those really important details that we drive home in the coaching program. Is it's not about a dogmatic diet. It's about what's the end goal. The end goal is metabolic flexibility. Then you can do, then you have all this leeway, do these other things. So I work when I want to work. I play when I want to play. I travel because I have the means, and I now have time to make new friends, which is something that was something that fell out and was missing in the balance when I was, when my kids were growing up. It was sort of, okay, there's work and there's family and and health, working out, and then there's friends. And the friend thing sort of that got a little bit cast aside, partly because I lived in Malibu and it was like, it's a car community. You have to drive everywhere to do anything. So it was really, difficult to meet friends. I live in this amazing condo in South Beach in Miami Beach. I've met, more people in the first year I lived here than in 20 years of Malibu. More very good friends. So the friend thing has also come into the picture. So I feel like right now I'm living the richest possible life because of this recognition of balance, and I'm still coaching.
And that's what I think we want coaches to feel empowered to do and have a conversation around, because at the end of the day, we're seeking health, wellness, fitness, so that we can, whatever that is for you, for someone else, it might not be a high rise in Miami Beach. It might be somewhere in the mountains of Asheville, whatever the case may be, or just being fit enough to play with your grandchildren or learn how to surf at the age of 50. That's my thing. Like, I would love to be able to get on a surfboard and learn how to surf. But when we're talking with clients about the reason that they're here and why they're learning how to make new choices and changing new behaviors and meeting new people, is so that they can foster the environment that they want today to enjoy today, but also reap the rewards of tomorrow.
No, I think that's it's a real nuanced philosophical arena for a lot of people. Like, they think, like moms in particular, think, well, I have kids and I can't do anything else. It's going to be kids, for the next however many years until they get out of high school. Well, it doesn't have to be like that. There are ways to orchestrate a day where you get a lot of the things you thought you would not have access to. You just have to sort of figure it out. And that's another thing that a coach can help you with. Like, no, you don't have to go to the gym. Today was supposed to be an easy day. And if you say you want to do some working out, we some great little micro workouts we could do at home. Done. No sweat. A 2.5 minute plank. I mean, that's my new favorite micro workout is a plank, which, we've been talking about the essential movements for 15 years now, the primal essential movements. And I sort of, not that I've forgotten about the plank, but I just wasn't, now I'm doing planks all the time. I'm like, this is crazy how effective a plank is. In the middle of a day where you have no time to do anything else, you do a plank and you hold it long enough and you go, holy crap, that was a great workout. I didn't sweat, I'm done. So I think finding those are the little secrets and hints that a coach can sort of inject into someone's life and say, no, you didn't have to go to the gym and spend 45 minutes on the treadmill today. Here's something you could do. And then next, go to lunch with the girls or whatever it is you're going to do.
I have this theory that's bubbling up, and a lot of what you said kind of has led to this. And it's a really important coaching concept, actually, which is that, and by the way, I feel like this is more prominent in this day than it has been before. And I think it's probably some kind of, I hate to say it, some kind of pandemic lockdown hangover thing, but people are more rigidly identifying themselves by these sort of identity statements. Like, I'm a mom. I'm a mom. That's who I am. I'm a gym rat. I have to go to the gym. People are kind of doubling down on putting parameters around themselves and not being flexible, like being very rigidly in their own parameters. So there is no hedonism. There is no pleasure. There is no flexibility. It's sort of like people have really doubled down on, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is inherent to me. And I think as a coach, I know as a coach, one of our jobs is to get in and unlock that and help people see that actually there is more that you could do. Actually, I know you're a busy mom and you could also have hobbies. I know that you love going to the gym and you could also drop down and do a 2.5 minute plank here. Like, let's sort of soften these edges. People, I don't know what it is. I don't know if we're in the position to figure it out, but lately people are more rigidly identifying themselves and are less willing, it seems, to sort of blow the parameters off their own identity statements.
Yeah. I mean, I see this on the internet. I see it on Instagram a lot. A lot of the business coaches are like, you're not working hard enough. Gary Vee, you got to love him, but he's like, no, you got to work harder. You got to work. And if you're not losing sleep over this, you're somehow a miserable failure as a business person. I mean, I think there's a lot of this lip service paid to grind it out, and you gotta put 14-hour days in, and you gotta, build your personal brand. And I just think, one of the things that I've noticed from the lockdown and from Primal Kitchen, for instance, is that I never expected 8 full hours of production from anybody. I'm like, if you clock in anywhere, and you give me an hour and a half of just focused, concentrated, dedicated, good production, that we can, at the end of the day, say the company advanced because of the work you did today. Doesn't matter how much time you put in to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So as an entrepreneur, I had my best thoughts in the shower. I went paddling yesterday and paddled for an hour and 10 minutes, and basically wrote a blog post for this new business that I'll tell you about in a second, which I would not have been able to do if I just sat down at a blank sheet of paper, or had I sat down at a laptop and said, okay, what do I think? It has to sort of come to me organically. And so the new work production, especially for creatives, is it's really in those brief moments that you're doing this, many of which come when you're doing something else, right? Which is that's that productive leisure. Many of these moments come when you're you're out with friends at dinner and you have an epiphany because of someone said at the table, or in the gym, or while you're taking your kids to school and you're having a conversation. There's so many moments in life that you could benefit from if you paid attention in the moment.
Hi, it's Erin Power here, co-host of Health Coach Radio. Fitness has always been a part of my life. I used to train clients one-on-one, and I still teach group exercise classes to this day. Fitness is how I got started on my journey to health coaching. Working as a fitness trainer, I always wanted to go deeper than the reps and help my clients incorporate fitness and movement into every aspect of their lives. I instinctively knew that reaching fitness goals depends on pulling the focus from performance and putting it on holistic, sustainable change. And that's exactly what the Primal Fitness Coach certification shows coaches how to do. Your clients deserve to move better, feel better, be pain-free, enjoy exercise, and love their bodies. The Primal Fitness Coach certification teaches you how to train people to be fit for life, to avoid injuries, increase mobility, develop lean muscle mass, protect joints, and optimize metabolic health. This well-rounded functional fitness certification covers best practices for daily movement, strength training and conditioning, HIIT exercises, sprinting, and more. It also includes practical hands-on coaching training and business development lessons to help you launch and grow a profitable fitness coaching business. Visit primalhealthcoach.com to learn more about the Primal Fitness Coach certification. This comes so full circle because when you were talking about like living in the moment, which you didn't use that trite language, but talking about, how every single day on your vacation was the best day because there was some intention behind that and you were able to really immerse in it. And I was thinking, like, how is Mark going to tie this to health? Because that's kind of what we're talking about. And then you said, it's not this sort of hustle, grind, suffer culture. It's not really working for us. It's also not how we're wired. And so why this comes full circle is because I've been really diving into productivity, research and learning about like how to maximize productivity, because I'm a little tired of spinning my wheels and I want to have the time freedom to do other things, the things that I love to do. I want to make some friends, all these things we're talking about. So the productivity guru that I've anchored to is this guy, Cal Newport. And now he's a scientist about this stuff, and I devour all of his content. And it's actually a cognitive fact that we can't focus on something for longer than 90 minutes at the most. More people are probably closer to the 30-minute mark, but it's actually cognitively false that we can be productive for 8 hours. So why are we doing that? When I work on big projects, I can recognize the moment now where it's like, I have to actually move away from this. I need to go for a walk. I need to go for a workout. I need to go chill with the horses, something. I need to move away. I'm not going to be more productive on this unless I leave it. But where this comes full circle, and I shared this with you, Mark, in an email. I don't know if you caught it, but so Cal Newport, totally different guru in a totally different realm. Somebody wrote in and said, Cal, what's your favorite diet strategy? What diet strategy do you follow to help, really hone your productivity and do your deep work and your deep thinking. And who did he name drop? Mark Sisson. I was like, what? I'm listening to Cal Newport's podcast. He's like, I found this guy called Mark Sisson, and this is how he eats. And I really think it makes sense because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of food. Think about all the mental energy you expend worrying about eating and moving and exercising. This guy's ripped. He's ridiculously in good shape. He's like in his late 60s. It was the wildest thing. And I was excited because it's like, there's a productivity hack there. If you can simplify eating and health, you get that time back.
Oh, that's a huge hack because, and you know how much I don't like that word hack, but my fondest desire or wish for anybody I work with is to let go of any attachment to the eating dilemma and just be intuitive about everything you eat. Now, it takes a while to get there, but once you get there, the amount of freedom that alone affords you is incredibly empowering, right? So many people are overthinking every bite of food they put in their mouth, whether it's, is this right? And what would Mark do? Or, oh my God, I shouldn't be eating this. How guilty am I feeling right now? And, all of the stuff attached to this basically obligatory, function that we have to engage in a couple times a day, and ought to savor every moment and every bite. It steals the pleasure of that moment if you have to overthink it. So I think, and this is really what I hope, the primal health coaches all embrace, and I'm sure most do, that if you can impart that to your clients, that alone will be life-changing for them and shift their thinking and free up mental space for other areas of that actually deserve attention. And it's so it's really, I think it's the cornerstone of the primal health, sort of way of eating, however you want to look at it, just to get to that point of intuitively appreciating every bite, not overthinking it, and moving on to the next thing.
Yeah. My big thing is always just kind of keeping it super simple. Let's just start with, brainstorming as many whole foods as we possibly can. We have a list that we provide people, but let the client get creative and kind of write these things down and, and really kind of identify the ones they enjoy the most and why do they really like them. And now let's practice building meals out of this. And it's what I try to impart with every client within the first few weeks is we're not on a diet. We're trying to dial in your diet, which just means the sum total of your nutritional universe that you eat habitually. That's what that means, right? So but I said, the reason it's not a diet is because you can take that framework, those habits to any environment. You can take it with you when you go out to eat. You can take it with you when you're on vacation. The number of people I know that blow themselves up when they travel is like 90% because they're on a diet instead of just, this is how I eat. So I'm going to find a way to choose a meal that's in line with how I eat, no matter where I am.
Yeah.
And then to your point, they can just enjoy the scenery and enjoy being with the people that they're with instead of agonizing over the menu. Yeah.
So I don't want to piss anybody off here, but I'm going to brag that during this stay in Europe, I lost 4 pounds. Now I lost 4 pounds eating great European food, going out pretty much every night, which is, as decadent as it gets. Mm-hmm. I traveled with people who gained 6 pounds or 8 pounds during their stay in Europe. And so what was it about me? It's literally, first of all, and I did a lot of hiking. I walked anywhere from 6 to 10 miles a day. Most of the stay. I don't walk much in Miami. It's just, I have other things to do and it's a little boring to walk. I'd rather ride my bike. But in Europe, lots of places to explore. So I did a lot of walking, but that alone, you can't exercise away a bad diet. Mm-hmm. I didn't lift as much because I didn't go to the gym to bulk up, to build muscle and power. I went to the gym when I found one just to maintain, but I lost 4 pounds in my travels eating well, because I knew when to push the plate of food away. I knew when I was finished eating, right? And I knew enough not to, have too much in the way of bread or I had pasta, I had bread, but I didn't, I knew my limitations, and I sort of intuitively knew, yeah, that was great, and I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Push it aside.
There's this concept that I've been trying to like popularize. I don't have a platform, so maybe you can help me popularize it. Temperate hedonism. So it's like, yes, I indulge daily. Yeah. I don't shy away from indulgence ever, but I never overdo it on anything.
Yeah.
I just don't. There's a way of doing it, and then you get to have the joys of life, and you don't have to suffer. But I think you don't have to suffer the consequences in air quotes. But where people fall down is that they're in this restrict, reward, punishment, reward, punitive kind of weird relationship with all this stuff. And so,
well, that's like the cheat day. It's like I just don't get the cheat day. It's you're eating well throughout the week, and then all of a sudden you say, okay, I get to eat as much as I want of whatever I want, and that's some people's cheat day. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make much sense to me. First of all, if you really clean your diet up, that cheat day is going to cause inordinate amounts of pain and suffering and gas and grief, right? So, but yeah, that's that. I like that temperate hedonism. It's an oxymoron, clearly, but it's but it's good.
I use it all the time. Like, for example, and we've talked about this before, like I don't care what anybody says. I'm drinking a glass or two of red wine every day. I'm going to do it. Sorry, Andrew Huberman, I'm doing it. But I don't get wasted. I'm not out here trying to get wasted. I'm enjoying the moment of that glass of wine, and I want to have it. And like, it's things like that. It's like just choosing in the moment. For my clients, I call this the self-honoring choice. And the self-honoring choice could be, I'm going to crush Aunt Edith's pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving, because if I don't, I'll hurt her feelings. Or the self-honoring choice could be, when I go to the movie theater, I'm going to have the popcorn, even though it gives me gut rot. Or the self-honoring choice could be, when I go to the movie theater, I'm not going to have the popcorn because it gives me gut rot. Like, it's literally making decisions in the moment from a place of information, just knowing how your body responds, knowing what you like and don't like. It's not this stupid, weird trade-off kind of relationship where I was good in the gym, so now I can have this Twinkie or whatever. Like, we get to have a more beautiful relationship with food and body when we kind of tap into hedonism a little bit all the time.
Yeah, there's no right answers. They're just choices.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just before we move on to your new company, I have to admit something really creepy. I hope you don't find this creepy. But I have showed everybody this picture of you on the beach with Thomas DeLauer riding the fat bikes that posted on your Instagram. I'm just like, that's almost a 70-year-old man. Look at that. That's insane. Like, you're Thomas DeLauer, fit guy, but like, you're putting him to shame. So I just want to tell you, I'm showing everybody, look at that. That guy's almost 70 years old. It's nuts.
Hey, I'm not putting Thomas DeLauer to shame. He's I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But he's a very cool guy. He's taken up the mantle of keto, which, if we look at the evolution of our investigation into ways of eating and metabolic flexibility, we, within the Primal Health Coach Institute, sort of really popularized keto going back 6, 7, 8 years. And then we've kind of we haven't abandoned keto. It still works great, but we've kind of gone more to a kind of gentler version of keto-ish, right? And metabolic flexibility becomes the new sort of sounding board there, and the new holy grail, if you will, of eating. Well, Thomas really bought into the keto thing. And he was like, and he's got millions, he's got 4.5 million followers or something crazy like that. And now he's kind of shifting back. He's like, I like eating a little bit of extra food too. And so he's moving away from the dogmatic keto into the more like, okay, how can we make this a truly sustainable lifestyle that incorporates keto at some point, but really, manifest the metabolic flexibility, the ability to extract energy from whatever substrate you happen to, your body happens to need for the work at hand at the time.
I think there are a lot of people for whom keto or some version of a low carb diet literally saved their life. Right. And I personally have found myself, as I've gotten older, I'm technically not in menopause because I haven't gone a whole year, but I'm noticing massive differences. And in terms of just my own motivation and the type of workouts I enjoy now, the high intensity CrossFit workouts that I used to love, I feel like ass afterwards. I don't feel good. I used to be able to work out fasted. I can't anymore. I mean, I can, but I don't feel good.
Yeah.
And I've just been kind of going down the rabbit hole of research and realizing, I think, like, look, I mean, if just 100 years ago, the average life expectancy was 54. So if we're at a stage where we want to be as active and agile and fit 10, 20, 30 years after what the norm, like our life expectancy was not that long ago, then adjustments probably need to be made, right? That our systems are changing. So I guess I would love your opinion in terms of, is there a point at which, whether you're just metabolically better and you've kind of hit that minimum effective dose of keto where you adding in some carbohydrates might be a little better? Could it be an age thing in terms of hormones and how our metabolism is working and listening to that?
Absolutely. And it's we've known for a long time that keto, pure keto, works really well on 80% of men and then marginally well on another 15% of men. Pure keto works really well on 30% of women, and marginally well on another 45% of women, and then probably not at all on 25% of women. And by not at all, I mean it's not worth the loss of libido and energy and motivation and all of the things that come with it. So, we always start at sort of the top. It's once the Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs is met, like, what do you really want from life? Like, if you tell me I really want to be ripped and I want to be on the cover of Shape magazine when I'm 65 and I'm a woman, I'm like, it's not really what you want. There's something behind what you really want. You really want people to like you. Or you really want to feel better about yourself. So if we have to dig down to find out what we really want, having a chiseled body and being a woman with 14% body fat isn't achievable for most women. It's not even achievable for a lot of men. So if what I really want is to be happy, to feel loved and to love, to be productive and to be passionate about what I'm doing, whether it's my family or my hobbies or my work, those are the sorts of things that drive the next subdivision, if you will, of what it takes to get there. And so if your health and your energy levels are going to improve in a way that lets you love better or more deeply or appreciate love from other people or be more productive or be more passionate, then I don't care what you look like. I don't care. All I care about is how you feel.
Right.
That's why I'm not big on these wearable devices. It's like, I don't need something to tell me I didn't sleep well last night. I know I didn't sleep well last night, or worse yet, I don't want to wake up and feel, oh my God, what a great night's sleep I had, and then have my ring tell me, no, you didn't. Sorry. I want to feel. I want to feel life. I want to feel the moment. I want to feel the passion. I want to feel the energy. I want to feel the vibration around me. And one of the ways to get there is to be healthy. So healthy means energetic with your diet, means working out enough to build muscle mass so that the rest of your body works. It doesn't always mean looking good naked. It doesn't always mean dialing in your diet perfectly. Now, so this brings us back to the question that you pose, which is, what do we do in this experiment of one, this dietary experiment of one? And as a coach, this is the absolute best arena for a coach to shine.
Yep.
Is to go through, like, okay, what are we really trying to achieve here? Let's set the workouts aside. Let's set the diet aside. In your life, what are you hoping to achieve? And then what does that look like to you? Does it require that you have 13% body fat and chiseled abs? And or if that's not highest priority, would it be just fine if you woke up feeling energetic every morning? If your clothes fit well and consistently, if you had the creative moments that we just talked about, where you can feel like you're really contributing to the world with your thoughts and your activities. Those are the sorts of things that ultimately people want, and creating a physical realm for that to happen may require that you take a keto diet and say keto just didn't work for me, and if in my pursuit of better blood work and low body fat and all of these other things that I thought were going to get me what I wanted, I'm losing sleep, I'm losing hair, I'm not losing weight, I have no energy, I have no sex drive. That's a fail. Mm-hmm. So the experiment becomes, okay, this isn't great, but this is like so typical. What do we need to do? What does the research show us? We need to add back to the diet. How do we need to tailor the workouts so that the high intensity workouts aren't what you imagined them to be because you did them 10 years ago, mm-hmm. but what do they look like now? Yeah. A great example I can give you is that in my waning years as an athlete, I was a competitive endurance athlete for way too long. And I had stopped competing 10 years prior, but I was coaching elite athletes. I was coaching world champions in triathlon. So I was myself on some of the workouts with these guys. I would ride 2.5 hours with the guys I was coaching who were world champions. Brad Kearns was ranked number 3 in the world in triathlon in 1988 when I was coaching him. I would run with them once in a while. But what the difference was, they were doing it every day. I was doing it once every 6 or 7 days, so I could do the work. I just couldn't do it I couldn't recover as quickly. So Laura, back to your dilemma. So you can do a high intensity workout once in a while. Doesn't mean you have to do them on the same schedule you did them 4 years ago, 10 years ago, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't even mean you have to do them at the same level of intensity. So maybe you dial it back. Mm-hmm. I'm 69 years old. I feel like I'm 22 sometimes, to my detriment, because I do shit that's probably inappropriate for someone my not just my age, but I've got with age comes, unfortunately, a demonstrable decline in productivity, and nothing you can do can stop it. You can only slow the decline down a little bit. You cannot stop the decline. I'm not going to PR on the bench at 69 years old, right? But I can do a lot of things that maintain the body composition and don't cost me in terms of injuries, which is my biggest concern right now. Is I just don't want to get injured. It takes the fun out of right. life, and I want to be able to do so. I dial it back a little bit, and I have to take my ego out of the way a little bit. Say, okay, I'd love to be doing this, and I could be doing this, but it's inappropriate for me to be doing this. Right. So I don't know, So in your case with Laura and with the diet thing, it's always just about experimenting. It's always just about finding the right, that right mix, that right blend of not just what you eat, but when you eat and how much you eat, and then how it coincides with the intended workout of that day. If there is an intended workout that day, it's as simple as tomorrow's going to be a leg day, so I'm going to have 150 grams of carbs tonight for dinner. I'm going to burn them all off, during the workout. But there's no way I'm going to not eat carbs tonight and then go into a leg day fasting. Mm-hmm. So this is the beauty of what we do. There's no right answers. There's a choice here, right, that will serve you better than some other choices. We just have to work together as coaches and clients to figure out what that is. And that brings us back to the beauty of coaching, which is, because there's no right answer, then there's only the client's choice. And if the coach's entire job is to help the client hone in on what that choice is that best serves the client, that's a win-win-win.
Yes.
Amen.
You touched on one of the most foundational coaching principles, which is this idea of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators. So the intrinsic motivator is like, what do you want? Really hard question, very, very hard question for people to answer. And people haven't been practicing answering that question. So when you're working with clients and you ask them something like that, what are your goals? Why is that important to you? It takes them a long time to figure it out. In fact, I put this thought experiment on my Instagram, which is, okay, imagine that I snap my fingers and you have your dream body right now. What's different about your life? How is your life different? What changes? And the only thing people could say is, I would go to the mall and buy new clothes. It's like, right. Wow. Anyway, but the thing is,
that's a beautiful first sort of eye-opening question. Like, okay, wow, I really got to think about this.
Right. But the thing is we're programmed into more extrinsic things. Like, I'm following this program because it's the program. I eat this way because it's the way I eat. And nobody is really doing the deeper work, but that's where coaches come in. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my favorite parts about coaching is that the clients come in thinking that they're going to do this program with me. And it's like, actually, you're going to have to answer some questions. Like, what do you want? And the discomfort that the client has to go through in answering that question is part of their growth and pays dividends. I mean, like, you're living it now. Like, just the way you talk about how you live your life is exactly what, in a manner of speaking, we want our clients to think through, sort of zooming out, looking more holistically at their life versus just this scale weight or this pant size or this many carbs or this many pounds on the squat bar. Like, that's not their fault. They've been programmed into that by, honestly, diet and fitness culture. And we get to unwind it a little bit as coaches. So it's pretty cool.
Right. And another aspect of that is you get to change your mind if you want about what your goals are. You may have a client who comes in and says, these are my goals. And then, a couple of weeks later, you might even revisit those goals. So how are we doing? And have you had some thoughts about what your goals really are and how important are the ones you stated in your first meeting or whenever it was that you had this discussion? How important are they to you still? Have you added anything? Have you subtracted anything? And really kind of refine that process down.
Yeah, that's super common, by the way, right, Erin? I mean, I don't know about you, but in my practice, I find clients, I think sometimes in that first discovery call, they are telling you what they think you want to hear.
Yeah.
not what they really need. Yeah. And sometimes I'll push back on that early on, but I just sort of make note to go back and we'll revisit it a couple weeks in as they've kind of learned a few new things and they've tried to put things into place and they're struggling with following through on what they keep saying they want to do.
Yeah.
Clearly you don't want to do it because you're not. So let's go back and revisit this. And that's when I think, they've been on, 3 or 4 dates with you by then, so to speak. Right. And they've gotten to know you as a coach a little bit better and trust you a little bit better to be able to open up a little bit more as to where that motivation's coming from. And maybe I need to be more comfortable taking a smaller step so that I can actually achieve it.
There you go.
Oh, I think this is a good time for a segue. Speaking of taking steps, we just want to wrap up maybe, Mark, with your top 1 to 3 predictions for health and wellness in 2023. What might change? What do you think's on the horizon? And I know there's something pretty big on the horizon for you specifically. So give us your predictions.
Well, I think in a macro sense, I think the world's finally waking up to the fact that the COVID experience, highlighted how important the immune system is for people. Mm-hmm. So I think there's going to be a focus on immune strength going forward. I hope there is, and I think that's going to be kind of a major driver for a lot of areas. The whole body image movement, which tends to swing back and forth and celebrates fatness. And then, I think we're going to find kind of a middle ground there where, there's some place between super ripped and shredded to the point of near death and super obese and claiming to be otherwise healthy. We're going to probably arrive at some place in the middle there, which I think is the best place to be anyway. I think the number of people who ought to be working hard enough to get ripped is at 0.1% of people, really. And I think most people would enjoy life a lot better if they fell in that area that we spent most of this podcast talking about, right? Just that area that yes, they're healthy and they're energetic and they're passionate, and they're able to live their lives fully by not having engaged all in on one particular program that consume them for their whole life. So those are the key points.
That's great. Nice.
Yeah.
So here's the announcement. So for 2 years now, I've been working on a project that really goes back about 15 years for me. I've been a big proponent of minimalist footwear for a long time, and a big supporter and a big wearer of nothing but minimalist shoes throughout most of that time. I've been dissatisfied with the product offerings with a lot of these companies, whether it was a 5-toed shoes or whether it was wide toe box, what they call wide, thin, flat, flexible shoes. And for a lot of reasons, I think just the stylings of some of the 5-toed shoes were a little funky. And I think a lot of the minimalist, otherwise toe box shoes, were too thin, and I wore them and I couldn't do sprints in them or anything like that. So I thought, well, I'm going to develop a shoe that has all of the attributes that I would look for in a product, much as I did with Primal Kitchen, right? And so I came up with a 5-toed shoe that has a little bit more cushion than the ones that you're used to, a little bit more cushion than some of like the Vivo Barefoot or the some of the old Newtons or some of the other offerings. I've spent hundreds of hours on prototypes and have come up with 3 different styles of shoes that we're going to offer starting probably by the time this podcast comes out.
Awesome.
And the reason for that was once you understand how comfortable these shoes are, and these are the most comfortable shoes that you can wear. That was point number 1. These have to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Point number 2, they have to be functional. They have to allow toe articulation. Number 3, they had to look good.
Yeah.
So here's an example of one of the offerings we have. The name of the company is Palooza. This is a workout shoe. It's a performance shoe. It's got 5 toes. The toes articulate. They move up and down. This is sort of a false wall, so it does not have an arch support in it. It's just made to look like a regular shoe. Here's another version of that in sort of a gray heather color. These are, as I said, the most comfortable shoe I've ever put on, and that was my key ingredient. Now, when I was in Europe, I had one pair that I wore pretty much every time I went on a long hike or a long walk. I put 650 miles on this one pair of prototype shoes this summer. And every time I put the shoe on, a smile came on my face. I'm like, yes, this is the shoe I dreamt of. The name of the company is Palooza, Peluva, Palooza. Okay. It's a made up name.
I was going to ask where you got that.
Ironically, I couldn't get Primal Footprint because somebody owns a trademark for just the word primal in clothing, which should never have happened. It's a violation of whatever. Anyway, so we made up a name, Palooza, but in Portuguese, P-E means foot, and luva, L-U-V-A, means glove. So that's what we have here. Very excited about, our mission is to change the way the world walks. The mission with Primal Kitchen was to change the way the world eats. Our new mission is to change the way the world walks. The toe articulation is so it's so important to feel the ground underneath your feet. This is the issue that every modern shoe seems to overlook. That you need the input. You need the feet need to know how to land in order to tell the brain how every muscle and every joint needs to accommodate the weight that's going to be placed on it as soon as the weight is placed on it. So it's there's a lot of evolution behind this new footwear. I said we have 3 different types of shoe. One is basically for what we would call urban trekking. So if you wore this shoe, I would do anywhere from 6 to 10 miles on pavement. It looks like a walking shoe for any. No, it's a walking shoe. Now we tell people don't run in these shoes. Okay. Right. The biggest mistake that other minimalist shoe companies have made is to suggest that you could run in thin shoes. Unless your feet are extremely well accommodating, like you've been doing this for years and years, the muscles and small muscles of your feet have atrophied. They're not ready to run. And I mean, the book Born to Run came out in 2010 or 9 or whatever. Yeah. And lots of people went out and bought minimalist shoes and ran 7 miles the first day and destroyed their feet. So what we're saying is spend your entire day in this type of shoe from morning until, and then when it's time to go run, put on your running shoes and go run. Your feet will be stronger as a result of having done that. So this, for instance, is a dress shoe. So this is a
slip-on version. It looks like.
Huh?
It looks like it slips on instead of ties.
It's a slip-on. Yep. Yeah. And I wear this to fancy events. This comes in white too. It's and again a fake sidewall. It's only 1 centimeter. The heel is only 1 centimeter off the ground inside. Right.
I can't wait to see what naysayers say about that. You know what I mean? Like there's so much like smoke and mirrors in this industry where it's like, oh, those they have so much of a drop.
It's like, no, it's just made to look it's made to look like a real shoe. Yeah. It's so we want comfort, function, and style. We wanted the style to come in there. I've had a lot of great compliments we have a lot of influencers now who are wearing these shoes. We got some like beautiful pink one. We have white ones for women and some pink ones, pink in this heather sort of thing. Yeah. So we're really excited about it.
That's so cool. So I just want to circle back. So you're saying don't run in these. So what do you think people should run in?
Whatever you're used to running in, keep running in those shoes. But our point of view here is that people should be barefoot all the time. Yeah. Well, it's impractical. So if you're barefoot in your house, that's great. That's the best place to start, especially on look, when we were barefoot for almost all 99.999% of human history, it was on grass. It was on hard packed dirt that gave a little bit, but it was on a forgiving surface, on pine needles, on whatever. Now we have concrete, we have hardwood floors, we have tile, we have all these surfaces that, even though people talk about going barefoot, it's probably not appropriate to go barefoot all the time on really, really unnatural hard surfaces. Hence the little bit of cushioning that we have in here, just enough to give you that to sort of, what we like to say is it's kind of like walking barefoot on a golf green.
Yeah.
And so we want people to kind of because we have the 3 different styles. You have a style that you can wear doing your errands, going to the gym, casual, dress up, whatever you want to do, go to work. We have a different look and a different style for every occasion. So, because I feel like in my case, like once I understood the concept of like, I'm never wearing regular shoes again.
Right.
I'm gonna wear these at whatever I can. So I needed something for weddings and funerals. I needed something for, formal dinner events. And I've worn, all summer we have some nice leather tie-up versions of this.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I think, like I say, we want to change the way the world walks. And my son is my co-founder, so I'm getting a chance to spend time with him. It's been a spectacular. It's been 2 years of intense work, back and forth, R&D, getting this right. Yeah. So now we're finally launching.
Amazing. Well, congrats. So excited. So excited. You just can't stop like ideating, I think you tried that retirement thing. You're like, no.
I tried it. Yeah. Good. The main thing was I sucked at golf. So,
but what a gift to be able to be fit enough and have the freedom to follow the things that you just sort of always wanted to try and always wanted to do. You opted for the best available option at the time. Wasn't ideal. Now you've got the time to actually really build what you think people need. And so what a great gift to be able to do something that you love, be excited about it, be of service, and provide something of value. So I
also to keep working. Like retirement in the traditional sense is like, well, I'm old now, I guess I'll go sit in my armchair. And it's like, it doesn't even your life doesn't have to be like that. And this speaks to your live long, drop dead thing. It's like, you can still work if you're doing things that bring you joy and pleasure in our passion projects and don't feel like work. And there's no reason we have to stop when we get to retirement age.
No, I mean, if this was a hobby, I would take it on as a hobby, right? But no, the original data for Social Security was since people died at 67, let's have them retire at 65 and then pay their last 2 years of life. Well, how's that working out for you, Social Security Administration? Because people are living longer now. But that was the original. The original assumption was once you stopped working at 65, there was nothing to live for. There was nothing to wake up for in the morning, and you were going to die within 2 years. Kind of a morbid, actuarial fact, but that's kind of how the whole security system was based.
Yeah. Well, you're sticking it to them.
That's right.
Well, thanks for joining, Mark. We love starting every year the podcast. This is, I think, This is the fifth year of our podcast. This is the fifth year. You've been our first guest of the year, and we always love catching up with you. Amazing.
Likewise, ladies. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much, Mark.
This podcast was brought to you by Primal Health Coach Institute. To learn more about how to become a successful health coach, get in touch with us by visiting primalhealthcoach.com/call. Or if you're already a successful health coach, practitioner, influencer, or thought leader with a thriving business and an interesting story, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us at hello@primalhealthcoach.com and let us know why we need to interview you for Health Coach Radio. Thanks for listening.